obvious. What's not obvious is, if it will load, why the British Empire got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 new puppets in the, it was either the Got the Demonron DLC or the Graveyard of Empires DLC. No one really knows. However, no one really knows. It's perplexed the community. People are kind of just, they don't really think that these nations were necessary, especially British Burma. However, I know why. After Götterdämmerung, Germany got a massive buff. Massive buff. And if we look here, we can see that 5, 8, 10. Okay. And then 14. That, they only really have 15, 16, 17, 18. And they're getting a crap ton from trade. They're getting 4 from subjects. So, 6 from trade, 4 from subjects. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that we're getting 10 plus the 3, but 3 are being taken away. And being put into consumer goods. So, what does this have to do with Germany getting buffed? Well, historically, France gets capped. Norway gets capped. Denmark gets puppeted. The Benelux gets capped. Poland gets capped. And for... excuse me. Let's see. France gets capped around mid 40. And Germany goes to war with the Soviet Union mid 40, mid 41, and then Japan goes to war with the Allies late 41. So Britain, UK, was alone against the German Reich, fighting in Africa, dealing with the air raids in London and the southern Britain for around 1.5 years. They were standing alone. And through all that, they had to produce a crap ton of fighters. They had to produce they produced a shit ton of tanks. The Churchill being one of the main ones. They go check out War Thunder. There's a crap ton of vehicles that they have in the British tech tree, and you can see how much they actually had. How many designs they actually had. And if you want, you can even go into the production numbers there and then compare them to US production numbers, and you'll begin to see just how hopeless the situation was, especially if you compare it to German numbers, and then you add that to the Italian numbers, and you begin to see a picture. Um, so yeah, Britain was alone against Germany for years. Now, with the German buff, that means that the UK needs a little bit of scaling. So they don't want to do a full rework yet. That's going to be a little bit in it's going to be a while in the making. So what do instead? They give the UK more puppets. Now they don't want to give the UK a bunch of puppets automatically. No. They don't want to just give the UK a whole bunch of integrated puppets, because integrated puppets are the only puppets that actually give you, let's see, civilian industry to overlord, military industry to overlord, and then the next step up is puppet, which we do not have. Alright, let's do this here. Yemen. Which one do I want to release? We'll just do. We don't really care. I do. I have decided. Binu. Republic of Bifar. Puppet. So what does this give us? Well, it doesn't give us any factories. It goes integrated puppet. Next step up towards freedom is puppet. Then it goes colony. Then it goes dominion, and then free. So colony, puppet, integrated puppet. You want integrated puppets. They are pawns. You see that? You see it? Dominion's Queen. Republic of Transjordan. Where's that? That's Jordan right here. They are not an integrated puppet. Mandatory Palestine. They're an integrated puppet. British Malaya. They're an integrated puppet. Kuwait. They're an integrated puppet. So as the British Empire, you're going to wait until these guys get their industrial focuses done. But they will give you more factories. And if you really want to, you can do things like, let's see, that's one, release nation, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Singapore, return territory, release nation, return territory, Bahrain, release nation, return territory, return territory, return territory, okay. Release nation. And you could even release Northern Ireland. You don't get a core on them, right? Oh, you do. Alright. Scotland, Singapore, Wales, Zimbabwe. Alright. Now, what do all these puppets, potential puppets, if you're smart with Britain, do? Well, they're puppets. They don't give you much. They can give you lend-lease, subject manpower, extra trade from Overlord, Overlord trade cut. They can give you these things. However, if you build in them, which will obviously bypass these focuses, because infrastructure is one of the first things that you want to build in them, then you will get their autonomy down. You get their autonomy down, then what happens? Well, you get them into an integrated puppet. They become an integrated puppet, you get more factories from them. And if you just built civilian factories in them, like I just did, then you're going to have a lot more factories being given to you once you make them an integrated puppet. So, that's great. You get a lot more options, and it's the same thing, although on a much crappier, shall we say, scale, with all the other British puppets, because they're either colonies or dominions. And that's a lot of autonomy points that you gotta get rid of for them to give you anything. However, it's doable, and I mean, they do have their own focus trees. Now, an interesting playthrough would be pure British autonomy, just getting rid of autonomy for all the British subjects. That would be an interesting playthrough to see how powerful Britain can get just through puppetry. However, there is a much better for puppets. There is a much better puppet. Now, if we can talk collaboration government. How do you get a collaboration government? You need to be anything but democratic. And this would also be an interesting playthrough. You go down a changing course, and you go down one of these paths. It looks like communism is pure decolonization. It looks like organize the black shirts, you're able to move to secure the dominions, which I assume allows you to do some funky things. And then the King's Party, you're able to do all of this. Now, here's the problem. King's Party, here's the problem with King's Party. this makes you non-aligned. Now, non-aligned, um, does puppet. And what I mean by that is, um, even if you do this and you go to war with your old puppets, and then you make them a puppet again, it means they're going to be a puppet. They're not going to be an integrated puppet. And that costs building power. That this is what you end up having to do in order to make up for it. However, if you go fascist, then you will automatically get this in peace deals, the Reichskommissariat. Now, if you if you release nations like I did here with the occupied territories and managed subjects, you will get Reichsprotectorate. So make sure to puppet it and not take the territory. Reichsprotectorate is pretty good. You still get the civilian industry, but you don't get your military industry. And military industry is just as important. The other thing that you get with those is collaboration governments. And hello, oh god. Yay! Alright, integrated puppet. Sorry, not integrated puppet. Collaboration government. Now, collaboration government, what do they require? Well, they require Jesus, what the they require a certain core rises to 80%. So, if we take a look at our occupation law, we can see 70%. But we are democratic, so we get local autonomy. That's amazing. That means we can very easily get new regime, which is the collaboration government, and we can probably get it up higher. What does that mean? Well, it means that once we switch to a change in course and either organize the Black Shirts or the King's Party, we will keep the land that we occupy. We will get rid of the dominions or whatever this does. I don't play the UK. I don't go down these paths, and I've watched videos. But I don't remember what each path does. Either way, you get to keep their compliance, and you don't get to keep the occupation law, but you do get to keep the compliance. At least I believe so. That's the theory. I see no reason why you wouldn't keep the compliance. And with the compliance comes the ability to go down here into your decisions and make them a collab government. which makes the British Empire all that more powerful. All that more powerful. Now, how does that interact with, not decolonization, but Imperial Federation? I don't really know. Dominion of what is it? Imperial Federation has long been touted as an alternative to self-governance. After a lengthy period of preparations, the time has now at last come to unify our government with those of our dominions and retake our position as the world's preeminent superpower, rule Britannia. Dominion of Canada, following must be true. One of the following must be true. Is integrated puppet or is a Reichskommissariat? Okay. Integrated puppet or Reichskommissariat? Alright. That is useful to know because it seems like those nations, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Dominion of Canada, are all not India? Has that changed? The United Kingdom will be known as the Commonwealth of Nations, gets event Rise of the United Kingdom. Dominion of Canada and others joins the United Kingdom, annexes Dominion of Canada, is now core of United Kingdom. FF. I don't know if the British Raj is a part of this any longer. If it's not, then that's a bit of a bummer. I don't want to test it because that requires time. And I want this to be a very short video. So, the UK can become very powerful. Considering that it only gets cores on Canada, on South Africa, on Australia, on New Zealand, and maybe the British Raj. Without autonomy or Lord Halifax as country leader, the British Raj will not accept the proposal for Imperial Federation. Okay. So you still can. Alright. Indian autonomy. Without autonomy or Lord Halifax as country leader, the British Raj will not accept any proposals for Imperial Federation. And what are they right now? Aren't they a Dominion? Dominion. They're a colony. Okay. So they need to be a Dominion. British Raj becomes free. Ew. Air experience gain. Air wing training experience gain. Great experience gain. Air Wing mission experience gain. Training experience. Okay, so they train faster, and they train while on a mission faster. Okay. Sidetrack. Yeah, so it may be better for Britain to just create a shit ton of subjects. It seems like only those nations that I mentioned, only the Dominions plus the British Raj, if it becomes a Dominion, can take, can become part of the British Empire, but everything else can either become an integrated puppet, which will give you the max factories for integrated puppets, or a collaboration government, which will give you the most factories for the land. So this area, these areas, if you can make them collaboration governments, then you are set. Essentially, you're set. Which is absolutely amazing. But that will be it for this video. It's around 30 minutes. Short video for me. Have a nice day, everyone.